Billionaires. My name is Reverend Ikenna Emmanuel. I am the lead pastor of Faith House Leadership Churches worldwide. You're welcome to SMS Solutions. S talks about sex, marriage solutions. And today I will be talking about how to identify risky marriage and sex relationships. How to identify risky marriage and sex relationships. But before I say one or two things that I believe that is very, very important for everyone that is a single person and for everyone that is a married person, I want to share this story that is very, very pathetic. It's a story about a true story about someone. I wouldn't want to say how I got to know the person, my relationship with the person. This was a young girl that was in school then, and she was just quite a beautiful lady. And there was this guy that was hanging around her, crushing on her, and all that. You know, the lady just agreed in that relationship. She couldn't identify that this relationship was going to be quite a risky one. And this guy was constantly having sex with this lady, and then they had about 2, 3, 4, or to 5 abortions. It got to the point that the relationship became so strong and bonded because whenever you have sex with someone over time, there's going to be a strong bond that connects with you and the person. Finally, they agreed to marry after a lot of pressure from the young lady. And the guy said, okay, we've had about 4 or 5 abortions. That was quite ridiculous for that young guy. And the guy said, I'm not going to do your wedding until you are pregnant. I'm not going to do traditional wedding. If you're an African, you understand what is traditional wedding. Our traditional wedding is very, very important in Africa. So the lady they stayed a lot of time, and because of protracted DNC and all the rest of them. And finally, the lady took in, and the guy did the traditional wedding. And that was more than close to about 10 years. And after that 10 years, the guy said, I was not going to do the white wedding, what they call the English wedding or church wedding, until you have given birth. So they stayed and all that. And finally, the lady gave birth, and they did the church wedding, the English wedding. And guess what? It wasn't about probably 1 month or 2 months. I'm not just sure now. The baby died. The baby died, and it was quite devastating. It was so bad, and the lady got so confused. And now a lot of prayers have been going on trying to ask God for mercy. This short story that I've just told you now is very important. It's happening all over the world. It's happening in Africa. It's happening in Nigeria. So I'm talking to married people. I'm also talking to single people or single persons. For how long can you continue in a relationship that is quite risky? Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you maybe 1 or 2, 3 points in this edition that is going to help you identify risky relationships, risky marriage relationships. When you are having a relationship with someone and the person is exposing himself or creating an environment that you need to know that this is going to be a risky relationship. Number one is when the person is not interested in your future. When the person is not interested in your future, whether you're a young lady or you're a young man, you're in a relationship, and if you're a married person, and the person is not interested in your future, anything that has to do with your financial future, anything that has to do with your career, in the future of your career, that has to do with your education. If you're an undergraduate and you're in a relationship with a young guy, maybe your classmate, or someone that's older than you, or someone that you met on the road, you met in a party, or someone you met in your church, and the person has not actually asked you, what are your plans in the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years? The person has not actually asked you, what are your plans? I want you to know that you are in a very, 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 very risky relationship. You are in a very, very powerful, risky relationship. What the person is interested is all about your body. The person wants to have sex with you. The person wants to take advantage of your big boobs. The person is just interested in your biceps, your six-packs. The person is just interested in just your physical appearance as a young man, or physical appearance as a younger woman. I want you to know that you are neck deep in a very risky relationship. And I want to advise you, step out of that guy, step out of that babe. I want you to know that your future is powerful and stronger than any other thing you can ever ask of or dream of in this life. All right, the second way to identify a very risky marriage relationship has to do with the person's secret life. It has to do with the person's secret life. Everyone has a past. Everyone has a past. A lot of damages have been done in relationships that have grown into marriage. Why? Because people keep away their past. If you don't want to destroy your heart, please make sure that you don't engage yourself in any relationship with someone who is not willing to share his or her relative past. When I talk about relative, because one is that you're marrying someone, you're marrying the person's past, you're marrying the person's present, you're marrying the person's future. A lot of people have done abortion. A lot of people got into a kind of relationship. They are not virgins. You find people who want to go into a relationship. They claim that they have not had sex before, whereas they have had sex before. Now, it's important you tell them that you are having a crush with someone, so that the person will not come up tomorrow and then begin to throw or cast aspersions on your spouse. It's going to be much more damage. So it's quite risky when you meet someone that is filled with lies, filled with a whole lot of withdrawal, someone that is not open, someone that is keeping something away. A lot of people say no matter how falsehood flies, one day truth is going to run ahead. So if you have dated someone, if you have dated a married man, if you have dated someone before, you need to also look at the emotional capacity of the person that you want to marry or you want to get into your lifelong relationship with, and then confide in the person. A lot of young ladies, they have fibroids. I know a young lady, the marriage is no more now. Why? Because she had uterine fibroid. There's nothing wrong in having uterine fibroid, but she was not able to talk to the young man concerning the uterine fibroid that she discovered that there was a diagnosis in that regard. She kept it to herself, and finally she got pregnant. She got married to the guy and got pregnant. In the process, she took in, and the uterine fibroid began to fight the baby, and before you know it, the baby, there was an abortion. The baby just had to go, stillbirth as it were. And over time, the man now labored in on the bed and got the lady pregnant again, and then they lost the baby again, and the man began to query, and the lady was like, I had uterine fibroid. He said, why didn't you tell me? Why did you keep it away from me? If he was quite a spiritual man, the man would have dealt with it from the environment of spirituality, and then go into medical attention in order to find a way, maybe get off the uterine fibroid, which is not a serious matter as it were, and then pray about it, and then they'll go on. But this guy said, because you told me lies, because you didn't let me know, you hoodwinked me into a sexual relationship, and you had an infirmity, you had a disease, you had something, you had maybe you are asthmatic and you decide to hide it from someone, or you had diabetes mellitus and then you hid it from the person. You have a certain level of allergy. You're allergic to cold, you're allergic to soup, you're allergic to any kind of environment. So try as much as possible to let the person. Love is so strong and so powerful that you can't afford to destroy your future, destroy your life by keeping some information away from that person. So you are taking a very strong risk. If you are someone that is having a relationship with a guy and you want to talk about the person's past, the person doesn't want to tell you about his past, she doesn't want to tell you about her past. She said, the past is gone, all things have passed away. If they are church people, they tell you all things have passed away, behold, all things have become. Yes, I know that all things have passed away. He said, remember, the former things. But the same Bible is always telling us also that we should remember the former things. So why do you talk about your primary school, but you don't want to talk about, you talk about your primary school days, you talk about your secondary school days, but when it has to do with how you misbehaved, with the places you traveled. Listen, marriage is a very serious thing that once the person discovers that you didn't tell the truth, the person is going to walk out of that relationship. If the person is not a strong person and if the person does not have a strong conviction, I want you to know that it's quite risky. All right, the third, and maybe probably the last for today, how to identify a very risky marriage and sex relationship is when the person that you're relating with has much more attraction, is attracted to someone else outside you, when the person is always making recommendations, sexual recommendations, sexual attractions to someone else, I want you to know that is quite a very powerful, risky relationship, and this kind of thing leads people to into pornography. There's a whole lot of people that are entangled with homosexuality. A lot of people are entangled with lesbianism. There's this bestie stuff, this crush stuff, this coochie stuff that is very, very devastating. You find out that your babe, your boo or your babe is so much attracted to someone of the opposite sex, and you're asking the person, what's going on? And she's telling you, that's my bestie, and she's telling you, this person is just close to me. I want you to just try as much as possible and do your due diligence. You don't have to be a casual man, you don't need to be a casual woman. A young man walked up to me and he needed prayers from me as a pastor, and he was telling me that he's one of the powerful believers in one of the fellowships in the city where I live. And he came to me, he said, I need prayers. I was like, what's the problem? And he told me that everyone in the campus actually do not see him as a womanizer, because he doesn't move around with women. He's always close to guys. He's always in the mood of the spirit and all, praying and all the rest of them. And then he said, you know what? I don't have a relationship with any lady. Why? Because sometime he got himself entangled. He got to visit one of his uncles when he was traveling down from Lagos, Nigeria, down to Onitsha. And then he stayed over with his uncle, and his uncle had a carnal knowledge of him. And somehow there was a connection. There was a connection of that spiritual connection, as it were, and the spirit of homosexuality got into him. So whenever he sees his fellow man, he gets aroused. But whenever he sees a woman, he doesn't get aroused. So every lady feels that, man, this guy is a virgin, but this guy sleeps around. So he was so broken that he came to me, and I prayed for him, and I counseled him and gave him some tidbits, and he got himself free. So I want you to know something, that you need to do a whole lot of due diligence. When I talk about due diligence, you have to ask questions, you have to check on the person's Facebook, check on the person's WhatsApp, get to know what the person is all excited about. A lot of people get into marriage without doing this due diligence, and found out that their spouses, they are having a relationship with someone. We live in a digital age. Someone can have sex with you through WhatsApp video, Facebook Live, any of the social media platforms, and begin to have sex with you. So it's important you understand your friends, your fiancé to be, or your fiancé, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend. What are the things that the person is attached to? What is this likelihood? What is this navigation? What is this direction when it has to do with a sexual relationship with the opposite sex, or sexual relationship with the same sex? So you need to do proper diligence before you marry someone that is going to do a lot of damage to your life as a young man, or someone that's going to do a lot of damage to your life as a young lady. So this is very, very important. It is important that you get away from this risky relationship, and this is one of the reasons why it is important, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, or whether you go to church or you don't go to church. This particular advice and this particular direction is critical. And I want you to know that in actual fact, no man in his right senses will be able to discern absolutely by due diligence or giving attention or monitoring people. You can have about 30 or 40, 50% of the information that you need. And this is one of the reasons why you must understand the place of asking God to show you what is this person's disposition, who is this guy. And I want you to know, in the place of prayer, in the place of commitment, in the place of counseling, in the place of submitting yourself to spiritual understanding and prayers, God can show you through dreams. God can show you through trances. God can actually reveal some things to you. That definitely there might be an inner witness, or God can create circumstances around you, or bring you into an environment, or find a way to bring you close to a video, or the person probably the person will just leave his phone, and then you go into the phone and you see all his videos and all his sex orgies and all that. Or probably the person went somewhere and didn't know that you were in that environment. So God has a way of orchestrating contains something very powerful for anyone that is sincerely following him. That she's anyone that is the lady that is sincerely following him. God has a way of showing you the path. God has a way of making sure that you don't put yourself into problem. When your senses and your mind is limited, you have to tap into the understanding of God, the capacity of God to reveal to you any man, and then you walk out of the relationship. And for those of you that are married, it is important also, once you discover that these 4 things I've mentioned is found in your spouse, the first thing you have to do is to pray about it. The second thing you have to do, find wisdom platforms where you can actually address this matter. Don't ever keep quiet. I belong to the school of thoughts where I'm a pastor. Also, we teach women how to submit. We teach women how to keep quiet. We teach women how to respect their husband, or keep quiet when their husband is talking. But when it has to do with a risky relationship, I want you to understand, as a woman, you've got to talk. Yes, you've got to talk. Yes, I say again, you've got to talk. You've got to sit him down and say, honey, sweetheart, my angel, you have to sit down. Let's talk about this issue. These 4 things that are found out around you, please, can you explain? And I want you to know that in the midst of communication, in the midst of discussion, even though he walks out, find a way to make sure that he talks or she also talks. There must be consistent talking. As long as you find out that these 4 identifications are prevalent in the things that you are seeing around your spouse as a married person, or your fiancé, or your boyfriend, or your bae, or your boo, before you get married. By the time you get into that, then you're going to pray about it and trusting God by consistency and by discipline and commitment to spirituality. Your marriage and your relationship is going to walk out of this risky environment. Till I see you next time I come across this video, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also get more of these on my Facebook page, Ikenna, but it's Ikenna Emmanuel. And I want you to know that you are the best. Your relationship is going to be the best. You're not going to walk into a risky relationship. God is going to give you direction. You're going to have all it takes to be the best in your relationship. So share this video with your friends. It's going to help somebody work out. Till I see you next time, do have a nice day, and God bless you.